Hi there, welcome to Tabletop Sagas. I'm Brett, back as always, showing you another little bit of an update of some stuff that I've been working on. Now, this stuff isn't so much things that I've been working on this week, it's probably been over the last month or so. It's more of things of when I've needed a break, this is something that I've worked on. You may be able to guess what it is. Well, it's returning to my 28mm 7 Years War stuff. As I mentioned previously, I'm still not quite ready to get back to some green and brown drabs, and I really did want to paint some colour. And let's be honest, Napoleonic or 18th century, you can't get much more colour in uniforms than those. And because I've already got a Prussian force, I figured it was about time to start working on having somebody to fight against. That's where these have come in, my lovely Austrians. Let's jump over to the table and I will show you what I've been working on. And here in all their lovely bright white and red glory is the 1st Imperial Regiment for the Austrians in the 7 Years War, and some skirmishers to go alongside with them. So we've got here 8 bases making up 2 units of line infantry and then a small unit even, of skirmishers. My understanding is that skirmishers didn't play a massive role in warfare at this time, so that's why I've decided to just do them as a small unit. May do them as a, do an extra base, add it on, and can always expand them if needs be. The line infantry, these are 18, I think, 18's 9 wide, and bases are the big red bat, I believe it is, bases. The nice squiggly bases that I've been using for the Prussians as well. I do really like these bases, and I think if I was to go into Napoleonics or some new era for this, for mass battles, then I would definitely use them again. Thank you to Martin over at Seven Sun for converting me over to these with his videos. So we've got 2 infantry units and skirmishers here. Let's have a little bit of a look at some of these stands in a little bit more detail. So here is the command stand for the Imperial Kaiser Regiment, which is the 1st Regiment, 1st Battalion for the 7 Years War Austrians, in their very, very nice white and red, a very distinctive look, I'm sure you will agree, and not at all a pain to try and paint on 28mm miniatures. So what we've got here, well, we've got your standard 4 infantry guys, we've got a banner bearer, and then we've got the unit commander. Nothing too unexpected here. These are from 3D prints. Oh, I can't remember what is the name of the person. Anyway, I will put a link to my mini factory down in the description below. As always, great sculpts, great options. I do like as well, they all come as multi-path ones with arms and heads and bodies separate, so you can mix and match to add a nice bit of variety. These guys I've done up just as marching, which I think works really well, and then get that banner looking like it's blowing a little bit in the wind. Again, this is just literally a printed banner. I will post where I got these from. There is a great website for the 7 Years War, which is basically a Wikipedia that compiles a load of information for them. It's maybe not completely in depth to an amazing level, but for working out color schemes and resources for wargaming, it's absolutely perfect. The only thing is, it didn't have formation information for the Austrians, so I've kind of had to base this unit off of my Prussians, because I do have some formation information for them, and I'm assuming that tactics in this era were relatively static. So we've got the commanders in the center and then the drummers on either side, just helping to keep time. And we have got plenty of room on these bases as well. It does, that they're maybe a little bit spread out. You'd maybe want to have these guys packed in a little bit more, and I'm sure if you squeezed on this base, you could probably fit an extra row of guys on each one and then end up having, 4, 8, 12, 24 models. across the 3 bases, and they would start to look really packed in then. But I'm happy enough with the 18, and 18 is something that I can paint up really quickly. I have done these really quickly. They are basically just a base coat for, white prime, and then doing the detailing. For the wash, I have got a special mix, although I need to mix up some more. It is just a diluted black wash. It's 1 part Nuln Oil to 2 parts thinner. Is it? I should have really wrote this down, what actually is in this pot. I think it's airbrush thinner, and then a couple of drops of flow improver as well to really get stuff to sink into the cracks and hopefully stain the surfaces as little as possible, which is particularly important for the Austrians because that white would be an absolute pain in the backside to try and re-establish. But it seems like my formula has worked really well. It does settle nicely and it doesn't stain too much, and I am happy with it. The only thing I'm maybe not happy with these bases is, as I think I mentioned previously in my Austrians, I'm not terribly thrilled about the bases themselves. I think I could do more. I want to get probably this force built up and then figure out what I want to use. Let's be honest, it's going to be some Gamers Graphs tufts. I think that's going to be the absolute minimum. Maybe I'll get a static applicator and spruce up this as well a little bit if needs be, but there's options there. I'm not 100% sure yet. If anybody does have any recommendations, any suggestions, do let me know down in the comments. It would be really handy actually to kind of settle on what could look nice as basing for these. I do want it to make it look a bit more barren field sort of thing, the sort of thing you see a lot of Napoleonic and even what few 18th century movies there are. They do tend to fight in just open fields. While that's maybe not 100% realistic, it is something I'd like to maybe recreate here a little bit. And here is the command stand for the Imperial Kaisers, so the 1st Regiment. This is the 2nd Battalion. And from the information I've got, if I recall correctly, it is actually quite nice that they do seem to be a little bit more structured in that it was 2 battalions to a regiment, a little bit more stricter for the Prussian than for the Prussians, I should say. And the flags as well. The flags are consistent from every bit of information I can see. There was only really 2 flags. The colonel didn't have his own completely unique flag. He just had reversed colours rather than the main flag, which is the black eagle on yellow. He had it on white. So it actually does make flags a little bit easier as well, because I can just print off a big batch of them and then they're all good to go, rather than the size individual ones for each individual colonel and regiment, which is a nice addition and makes things a little bit easier for these Austrians. So these ones, as you can see, I have gone for a firing pose and reloading. I do understand that people probably didn't kneel down and reload, they just kneeled down to get out of the way and then all stood up to reload, is my understanding. So this is maybe not 100% accurate into how they would actually work, but that's, fine, I can allow for it and all that. I'm happy enough. And I am also quite thankful that the mud on those gaiters, shakos, I can never remember, the stockings that they basically cover over their leggings, which are also bright white, and I can't imagine whoever thought that was a good idea, or whoever it was had probably never gone out on campaign, because those white trousers effectively would absolutely be ruined pretty quickly, and a little bit of weathering powder to try and represent that on these, as with all of my other miniatures for this era. And then finally for you, we have some skirmishers. Now, the Austrians were actually a bit more of an empire in the traditional sense than the Prussians, so they actually did have different cultural or ethnic origin people in their empire, and therefore they did have a few different doctrines of fighting, shall we say, I guess would be the big thing. And so they do have, like, you've got Austrian forces, you also have more Hungarian forces as well, and part of that is these light skirmishers, and they are in their own colours. And the reason why I ended up deciding to add these, because as you may have seen in my previous video, I don't actually have any skirmishers for my Prussians. And the Austrian army doesn't have quite as varied change in colour or accent colour for their regiments. There is a lot of red. They do have some blues and greens and all that as well in other regiments, but the first 2 or 3 regiments are all just white and red. So I wanted to add a little bit of colour into the army, and coming across these skirmishers, I mean bright red and blue and yellow. I can't imagine that these guys were stealthy. I don't think that was skirmishers' points at the time. They were probably just as a screening force, and they wanted to go look at me in order to distract the enemy. And you know what? All primary colours will definitely do that. And they were, you know, I said I wanted a break from drabs, and I don't think you can get much further away from drab colours than with these models. And also to represent the fact that they are skirmish, I have painted less of them, spread them out on the base a little bit more, and so they're hopefully looking like they're not in quite as regular a line formation. I'm really, to be honest, happy with that, and I think it's worked quite well for these. Well, there you have it. There are my Austrians, or at least the starting of them. There's a couple of infantry divisions, some skirmishers. I've not got a full force here. As I say, these have been very much on the back burner, just a little bit as and when I wanted a break from other projects. I am pretty happy with how they are coming along. I was particularly worried about that white. It's always a difficult colour to try and paint, so I'm pretty impressed with it, to be perfectly honest. What do you think though? Do you have trouble with white? Is it something that this sort of style could be something that would work for you? As always, I am going to be expanding this force. It is going to be in the background though. I am probably going to have this mirror the Prussians initially, so an extra couple of units of infantry, a unit of cav, and then some artillery, and then a couple of commanders to go along with them. And that'll stand me, I think, in good stead for playing a game. I think I want to try black powder with these, and then maybe a couple of other games, see what I think. If you do want to see any more of that though, let me know in the comments below. This is a background project, but I can bump it up and you will get to see more of it if it's something that proves to be of interest to you. As always, do be sure to hit that subscribe button as well. It does help out the channel massively. Doing these videos now weekly, I am seeing a lot more people coming in and viewing the videos, which is amazing. Hello, thank you for joining us. I hope you stick around. And yeah, I will see you in the next one here at Tabletop Sagas.